Jeez. Fancy sneaking up on me like that while I'm reading a spooky book. Anyway, since you're here, aliens, where'd you stand? I'm personally in the category where I want to believe, but don't. And I think if you want real evidence, the best thing to do is probably to move to America, because I don't know if you've watched the Joe Rogan Experience, but they seem to be abducting the Americans like bloody hotcakes. And since we're on the subject of aliens, we can't not talk about Area 51, which is the secret military base in the Nevada desert, and is supposedly where they took the UFO that crashed down in Roswell in like 1947. And these two things have inspired movies, TV shows, books, and you guessed it, video games. Well, let's see if Area 51 on the Xbox can earn a place in the attic. Roll the intro. Me. We're a small team here. Area 51 starts out with some excellent pre-rendered cinematics and sets the scene pretty well. It also has quite the cast: David Duchovny, Marilyn Manson, Nolan North before anyone give a shit, and Powers Booth. Now, I don't know who Powers Booth is, but he's wearing a red silk scarf, so I mean, you can't be a nobody and wear a red silk scarf. And sadly, Nolan North lasts about 10 minutes. So we touch down at Area 51 and start the game. Did you do that, clumsy prick? The tutorial does a great job of teaching you things you're only going to do for the first hour of the game and never again. Like smashing lockers for ammo. After the first few chapters, you never even see another locker. Or using your scanner, which is only required for one mission early on, after which it's only used to scan collectibles to unlock bonus content. And leaning. Now, I love leaning in shooters. It's always something I feel gets left out all too often. So I'm thinking I'm going to be peeking around corners, stealthily taking out classic looking grey aliens through creepy, dimly lit corridors. Well, I got dimly lit corridors alright, but what I actually got was spraying and praying at what first appeared to be Egyptian mummies with glowing yellow eyes, using a gun that shook so much I couldn't see where I was shooting, with some of the worst screen tearing and slowdown I've ever experienced in a video game. And this is the Xbox version, the most powerful console of its generation. I can't imagine how bad it is on PS2, and the GameCube port was never even released. Well done, Nintendo, well done. There was only 2 cases where I really noticed slowdown, but the screen tearing continues throughout the entire game, and it's something you just have to accept. Even if the game had no slowdown or screen tearing, the graphics are still ugly, bland, boring, and the game's default brightness setting is so unnecessarily dark. And because the game has a torch, I didn't know whether or not the darkness was an artistic choice. It didn't give me a brightness test before I started either, so how the fuck should I know whether or not I have the right brightness setting? I just want to play the game, I don't want to be part of the fucking development team. Even with the in-game brightness turned up and the torch on, some areas still seem too dark, with some textures outright refusing to register that I'm pointing a fucking torch at it. And I wish I could tell you what the pistol looks like, but the fucking thing's always pitch black. The colour palette consists of piss yellow, bogey green and cack brown, which just adds to the game's dull and lifeless atmosphere. Character models range from okay to how dare you put this thing in front of me, with their animations ranging from okay to how dare you put this thing in front of me, and the only good thing I can say about the presentation is the pre-rendered cutscenes. This would lead me into the story, but I want to talk about the gameplay first. It's a first-person shooter, so let's start with the shooting, shall we? The pistol is the only gun that I like the feel of. When you aim down the sight, the pistol moves to the centre of the screen, giving you a clear view of where you're aiming with zero recoil to adjust for. The SMG, however, is the Matrix 2 of second weapons, pissing all over the pistol's legacy. Firstly, it has a giant scope that you never even look through that takes up a third of the screen. Secondly, it shakes so much that you can't see where you're aiming, and the only explanation I can see for this outrageous bit of programming is to hide the screen tearing. And lastly, some colossal pleb thought it'd be a good idea to be able to dual wield this piece of shit. And guess what? You can't unequip the second gun. You have to use up all the rounds in a clip before it automatically drops. Why is that a problem? Well, how about because you can't aim down sights while dual wielding? And you're always dual wielding because the enemies don't stop dropping them. And because you can't see anything, you keep accidentally picking them up. Same goes for the shotgun, but who cares, it's a shotgun. The sniper rifle feels clunky. The first alien weapon only fires in bursts, and instead of ADSing, you get this ridiculous and completely pointless laser that shows you the path your shots are going to take. And lastly, the second alien weapon, which kind of acts like a rocket launcher. I don't know, it works I suppose. You also get two kinds of grenades, regular and space, which land wherever the fuck they want. But ultimately, none of the weapons feel like they have any impact on anything. And while you may think I'm being a bit harsh on this 16-year-old game, or maybe you're a bit younger and don't remember what games were like during the 6th generation of consoles, but let me just say this. Combat Evolved came out 4 years before this, practically perfecting the modern first-person shooter right out the gate. My point being that even in 2005, this shit was unacceptable. Besides the shooting, the rest of the gameplay is a tedious, uninspired, paint-by-numbers, cookie-cutter caper that's padded out beyond belief. Some rooms will have you retracing your steps 3 times. Like here, I need a key card to access this computer. I go down a ladder, I go up a ladder. Oh look, it's the key card. That was unchallenging and easy. So I go down a ladder, I go up a ladder and use the key card. Okay, so now what do? I go down a ladder, I go up a ladder, to find I can now open this gate to continue. All the while having the unbelievably accurate enemies taking pot shots. There's just so much padding in this game. An area that should take less than 2 minutes now takes 10. Because you gotta go down the stairs where the computer is. Then you gotta go up the stairs destroying shit. Then you gotta go back down where the computer is. It's fucking unbearable. And have a guess how long it takes until you see a grey alien. You know, the thing that's on the front cover. 5 hours. 5 fucking hours of some of the worst first-person shooting of all time. And then when they finally show up, it's like... But it's straight back downhill again because you never really get to massacre the little bastards. One shows up every now and again in a shield, which you have to break, but that's it. So if the graphics are shit and the gameplay is terrible, is the story worth staying for? Well, no story is worth going through this, but the story and cutscenes are the only redeemable thing about the game, apart from when they give David Duchovny lines like this.
By day 3, I wanted to punch him in the face. By day 7, I did.
The Greys are developing a weapon that is much too dangerous to do on their home planet. Somehow, the Illuminati made a pact with the Greys to turn a blind eye to human experimentation in exchange for alien technology. Now, Marilyn Manson's character, Edgar, is the alien that was recovered from the crash at Roswell in 1947 and has been working with Dr. Cray on a biological weapon that they hope will superpower the Greys' weapon. But Edgar tells Cray that the alien weapon, if completed, will destroy Earth. So Cray releases his biological weapon to stall the Greys, confuse the Illuminati, and prompt interference from the military. This is where our character Ethan Cole comes in. About 2 hours into the game, Ethan contracts the virus but is immune, giving you the ability to briefly turn into one of the mummy men every now and again, which adds nothing to the gameplay apart from the damage dealt by your homing space sperms, and only serves the story, because with your immunity to the virus, you are now the only one who can reach the Greys and destroy their weapon. The only part of the game I liked was the moon landing set. This is what the game needed more of, not retracing my steps over and over again doing the same old shit. I honestly had more fun with the unlockable content, which fleshes out the story a little bit more with video logs from the Illuminati guy and Dr. Cray. But the absolute best thing on the disc is the mini-documentary, The Voices of Area 51.
Well, the thing about Area 51 that was interesting to me was that I'd be portraying an alien.
Our enemy hides with the machinery of deception.
And it seemed kind of to share a lot of similar feelings as I do. I have kind of a distaste for mankind.
What a fucking cringe lord.
Kind of a stern, deep voice, you know, for the commander.
One of the great things to me about playing video games is they're not movies. They kind of are, but they're not really.
Now it seems that video games are so much like films that they really can be scary, so this seems like it will be a very scary game.
The kind of realistic detail of the players and of what you're looking at on the screen is pretty amazing. I mean, it looked like an animated feature.
Area 51 seems to fit that element of somewhat of cinema, but really it's gamer. If you're a gamer, you're going to enjoy playing this game.
I was honestly shocked to see some of the scores this game got. IGN, 8 out of 10. Game Informer, 8.5 out of 10. EGM, 8 out of 10. All I can say is some money exchanged hands for those reviews. Thankfully, the only review I remember of this game was the 5 out of 10 Games magazine gave it, calling it average to the core. Quite frankly, calling it average is being too kind. So, no, Area 51 does not deserve a place in the attic. Avoid it at all costs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.